Hey folks, I'm Jeff Hirsch, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at the August 2025 updates to Lightroom Classic, Lightroom Desktop, Photoshop, and Camera Raw. This video will focus primarily on Lightroom Classic, but the same changes we discuss here are across the board in all their other products, and they apply to both Lightroom Desktop and Photoshop Camera Raw as well. As of this morning, the latest version of Lightroom Classic is now 14.5, Lightroom Desktop is now 8.5, Camera Raw 17.5, and Photoshop, ever the odd one out, is version 26.9. There are 5 new changes I want to point out here. 1, we now have the ability to create and manage subsets when we're copying and pasting developed settings between pictures. 2, we now have the ability to generate previews in the library module using your computer's GPU. 3, they've updated the Generative Remove models and they work much better now. 4, they have added support for more Sony cameras to be tethered through Lightroom, and pretty much all the major Sony cameras are now supported. And then 5th and finally, they've added bug fixes and camera and lens support as they traditionally do with these small updates. So let's jump in with the 2 major changes that I want to cover here. Number 1 is this new ability to create and manage subsets when you're copying and pasting settings between pictures. They've also given us the ability to select only modified developed settings. So let me show you why I think this is useful to us and what exactly it is. So I have a series of pictures here, and I've developed the first one, and I want to synchronize or copy and paste the settings from the first one onto the rest of them. I can do this in the library module by hitting the sync settings button down here, or if I'm in the develop module and I'm holding more than one picture, I can hit the sync button. And as always, it pulls up the dialog for which of the adjustments you've made to a photo that you would like to synchronize between the one you're looking at and all the other ones that you're holding. And for quite a while now, we've had the ability to turn on and off the little subgroups. So here's all the basic, or all the lens corrections, or all the remove adjustments. But what we haven't been able to do is to save those subsets as little presets. We had the ability to turn them all on or turn them all off, but now we have the ability to make little groupings of them that we can save. So I've gone ahead and I've created a couple of different groupings. This one's just the basic pane. This one would allow me to sync all the various color-related things: treatment and profile, white balance, vibrance, saturation, the color mixer, point color, and any color grading. I've made one for image geometry that hits your lens corrections, transform, crop. I've done another one for masking and removal that will sync only those adjustments that involve masking and removal. And I've created a little subset for all of the toning controls. So these are all sort of academically interesting, and they're going to be useful to you in some specific situations. But there is one thing I want to point out that they've added here that I think is going to be very useful to us. And that's the ability to, instead of selecting all of the developed parameters or none of the parameters to synchronize, we now have the ability to select only those that have been modified. So in the case of this image, the color mixer has been adjusted and some masking has been applied. And so this is great, A, when you're only trying to copy those things that have been applied to a particular image, or B, you're trying to create a preset that only includes those things that you've adjusted. And these same subsets and groupings appear when you go to create a preset. So right now what I can say is I just want to sync those things that I've modified in this picture to all the other ones. I'll hit the synchronize button and it'll do that. But you can see where those little subsets can come in handy. And in the case of my masking, it'll have to generate new AI masks for each of the other images. So that's the first major thing that I wanted to talk about. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the big improvements that Adobe has made to the Generative Remove. One of the major complaints folks have had about Generative Remove is that it has the habit of putting something back in where you were trying to remove something. So you'd go and you'd remove a person or a bird or a chair or something, and the generative routines would replace it with another person or another bird or another chair, when all you really wanted it to do was just remove it and take it out as if it had never been there. Well, Adobe has tweaked the algorithms for doing this kind of remove business, and they work a lot better now at taking things out without actually bringing anything back. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the remove tool here. I've got Use Generative AI turned on, and I'm asking it to detect the objects for me. So I'll just run a quick outline around the figure, try and get a little bit of that shadow in the hopes that it'll take that out as well. And then it automatically extended the boundaries of my selection so that it'll blend better with the background. I'm going to hit the Remove button here. And this one had previously given me trouble. Photoshop would often put something back there. Now it does a very clean removal. So let's do another one here. We'll see if we can take this puffin out of the picture. And for some reason, this picture in previous versions of the remove algorithm would often replace the puffin with some sort of other mutant waterfowl. It didn't really look like a puffin or a penguin. I don't know what it was supposed to be, but what I really wanted it to do was just take out the bird entirely and just leave me grass, which is exactly what it does here. So this works for smaller objects. It even works for entire objects. So we can take a scene like this and remove everything from the room except the room boundaries itself. So they've improved the algorithm considerably. So those are the two major new changes that they've brought about. As I mentioned, if you've got a sufficiently powerful GPU, and what they really needed to have is 16 gigabytes of video RAM. If you've got a beefy GPU like that, you can now use it to have Lightroom generate previews in the library module. More and more of Lightroom's functions are being coded to take advantage of the graphics card that's in your computer, which just means that everything will process a lot more faster. As I mentioned at the beginning, they've added support for more Sony cameras for tethering, and they've added support for new cameras and lenses. For more Lightroom and Photoshop videos, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and go ahead and click the bell icon to get notified anytime I post a new video. And if you aren't already on my mailing list, head over to jeffhirsch.com and sign up for the mailing list, and you'll get updates on my classes and workshops and trips, along with bonus tutorial videos and articles for Photoshop and Lightroom. I promise not to spam your inbox, and I will never ever sell your address to a third party. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.